SpaceX IPO just got 1,000 times worse. It seems like the stock is most likely going to collapse on the first day of trading, even though that I really hope that's not going to happen because a lot of people are going to lose a lot of money. Problem that people have isn't about SpaceX itself or Elon Musk, but the valuation they're trying to get, $1.8 trillion. That's insane. We never had anything like that. And the problem with that valuation isn't that we never had such valuations before, but rather if you simply take a look at the company's revenues or profits, it's mind-boggling that somebody is trying to justify that valuation. Let me just give you a very simple example. If you look at the rocket business of SpaceX, let's just see at how much money the company has generated. If you just look for 2026, they're literally making around $5 billion. That's in the best case scenario. It will be like $5.2 billion. But most likely it is certainly going to be less than $5 billion. But let's give it the benefit of the doubt. How much the company will make next year? Well, they're not going to make $10 billion. In the best case scenario, it's going to be somewhere between $6 to $7 billion. In the normal scenario, that will be $5.5 billion. So up until 2029, which is literally 3 years from now, almost 4 years from now, they will be earning less than $10 billion. So if we are going to give it like the 10x valuation, that will be like $100 billion. That's on revenue. Revenue does not equals profits. So if you look at SpaceX purely from the financial and investors perspective, then you have to deduct that cost and then you will end up with a net profit. And then if you give it even a 10 times valuation, you're not even going to get a $50 billion valuation, maybe $20 billion valuation, $30 billion valuation. But let's be very optimistic because SpaceX has spent a lot of time and money building their infrastructure, and it's entirely possible that they will make a lot of money. And of course, if you just look at these numbers, it's insane to even justify $1 trillion valuation, leave alone $2 trillion. And some people will say that, well, the main business actually comes from Starlink. Starlink has been growing really, really fast. Now, Starlink is expected to generate $22 billion in revenue this year. So even if we give it like a 10 times valuation, that's like $220 billion. But let's just look at the future revenue prospects. We should not just focus on today. Yes, this year that will be $20 billion. In the best case scenario, maybe $22 billion. But just look at that growth. By 2029, it's entirely possible that the company will be generating $88 billion. But again, you got to understand that $88 billion is just revenue. That's not profit. After you deduct all of these expenses, and because they're actually doing that from space, the expenses in the beginning, like the capex, is going to be insanely huge. But even if we take this number, and let's assume for a moment the net profit will be $50 billion, which it's never going to be. It's probably going to be like 10 to 20 billion in the best case scenario. But even in this case, if we give it like a $400 billion valuation, take $400 billion, add it to the space business, and suddenly you have a valuation of less than $500 billion given the two biggest businesses that SpaceX actually is doing. And we are trying to be extremely optimistic. We are trying to assume that SpaceX will actually achieve the targets they're trying to achieve, not trying to underestimate Elon Musk. But here's the problem. Even under that valuation, it's impossible to justify those numbers. Yes, Starlink's users will grow to 90 million people by 2031. But another thing that you have to understand that the more Starlink expands to the rest of the world, the more it expands to third world countries, second world countries, where they will have to reduce their prices. If you can actually achieve a certain price level in the US, you can achieve that price level, for example, in Europe. You will have to lower down prices because people in Europe can't pay as much as people in the US. Simply take the GDP per capita. In the US, it's hovering between $95,000 to $100,000. The GDP per capita in many European countries is less than $50,000. In some of them, it's like $20,000 to $30,000. It still makes them significantly wealthier than many other nations. But at the end of the day, if these people are 3 times or 1/3 as wealthy as the average American, then you gotta at least slash your prices by half. And now let's take Starlink to the rest of the world. Let's take them to countries where the GDP per capita is about $10,000. At that moment you realize that you can't be expecting to sell as much as you're selling in the US and these nations. Suddenly you gotta slash your prices by 70% or 80%. So even though that the number of users could grow, the potential revenue from these clients is going to be significantly lower than you would do otherwise. That's why your US market is by far the largest market. Then you can make a lot of money from the European Union and the UK, maybe then from Japan. But then from the rest of the world, you're going to hit a certain limit. And you also have to take into account that all that revenue that comes from them first has to cover all that capex that you actually spend on building that infrastructure. But here's the thing, SpaceX is trying to rebrand itself as an AI company. So on the 31st of January of this year, AI basically merged, XAI merged with SpaceX. And at first, this merge doesn't actually make any sense or whatsoever. SpaceX has been around for more than 20 years. SpaceX has done what multiple nations haven't done. They've actually built the rockets that was impossible to imagine. But why exactly they have merged with XAI, the company that Elon Musk started like a couple of years ago when ChatGPT became mainstream? Look at the news. SpaceX reveals it's really an AI company. And that's because SpaceX is trying to change the image that SpaceX is no longer about space. Yes, it is going to send rockets. Yes, it has that infrastructure. It has that ability. But at the end of the day, we're trying to be an AI company because only through AI you can justify a $2 trillion valuation. Let me show you how. So they are basically expecting that this year, XAI is going to generate about $16 billion. That is in the best case scenario. But in the normal case scenario, that will be around $6 billion. So it's anything between $6 to $16 billion. Let's take a number that's somewhere in the middle. Just take $10 billion. That's just the beginning. They're expecting that by 2027, by the end of next year, that will be $35 billion in the best case scenario. Then by 2028, they are projecting $100 billion. Then $200 billion, then $322 billion. Trust me, I have not actually taken like the most optimistic number. The most optimistic number by 2030, I'm expecting that SpaceX or the XAI department or part of SpaceX, which is doing AI, will be generating like $700 billion. So if you're expecting the company to have a $700 billion revenue, then it's very, very easy for you to justify a $2 trillion valuation. If you take the company that is leading AI today, which is Google, because Google has Gemini and they have built an entire industry and a supply chain around it, they're making less than $500 billion and they are making over $100 billion in free cash flow, which make them significantly much more profitable than probably 99.9% of businesses around the globe. So even $322 billion by 2030 seems incredibly insane. So the moment you take this number and you compare them to other businesses that SpaceX has, for example, Starlink, where they will generate, in the best case scenario, $88 billion, maybe $52 billion by 2029. Or if you compare it especially to their rocket business, then you realize that, yes, exactly, SpaceX isn't trying to present itself as a space company, not as a company that will be making money from sending rockets. Yes, sending rockets will help them to build the infrastructure, but the real money will be made from AI businesses. Now, here's the question. How exactly are they going to generate so much money if they're just making a few $1 billion today? Well, first of all, of course, that's consumer subscription. That's them selling you directly a Grok subscription. Do you guys have, by the way, a Grok subscription? I don't have one. I have a subscription in Cloud, ChatGPT, and Gemini. And those who are actually using Grok subscription, let me know if it's actually worth taking that subscription. Maybe I will check it out. But of course, then they're trying to get into enterprise API like SaaS. That's where they will try offer their AI infrastructure for other businesses. If you're a business and you need to connect your business to AI and you need AI services, that's the kind of services that Grok will be offering. Then there are like government contracts, and this is a huge business because now every single company or every single government will have to use AI. So let's take the Department of Defense, let's take the Social Security system, let's take the British government, the European government. Just imagine how many governments around the globe will need AI. Then you have data centers leasing. And this is probably the most profitable aspect of SpaceX right now, because now they're building these data centers and they're basically leasing them to other AI companies, to cloud, to OpenAI. So they will be receiving $1.25 billion from Anthropic because they're leasing their data centers. Then you have sovereign AI deals. These are partnerships that they will be offering AI to other nations. Then you have X advertising, where they will be advertising directly while you're using AI. And this is probably smart. There is a lot of profits to be made in this case, because now we are going from search engines into AI. So if you're spending a lot of time in AI, then suddenly they can show you something. They will actually show you an ad. Just like there was an ad before watching this video, there will be an ad before you search something on AI. There will be an ad while you're searching something on AI. And here's the most interesting thing: orbital compute. AI interface satellites in sun-sync orbit via Starship, cheaper than ground data centers at scale. And this is probably the most ambitious idea that they have. They want to build data centers in space. I'm not sure if that's possible, but since they're planning to do that, maybe that's actually really possible. Probably it's going to be a lot more difficult in the beginning because you have to build the infrastructure. But if they can pull that off and it's going to be cheaper than data centers on Earth, certainly there's a lot of money to be made. And finally, this is by far the most interesting way they will be making money, which is called teraflop chip production. Essentially, xAI wants to build their own chips. First, design the chips, then manufacture the chips alongside Tesla and Intel. So they want to build the exact same supply chain that TSMC has built in Taiwan. So if you think about it, they will be competing directly with TSMC. They will be competing directly with NVIDIA. So if this business is going to be insanely successful, suddenly they will be making really great chips and they no longer have to rely on NVIDIA. They no longer have to rely on TSMC. They will be able to sell their chips to other AI companies. So when you look at it from this perspective, it's very easy to imagine how the company is going to generate $322 billion by 2030. So let's justify the $2 trillion valuation. But here's the reality that you really have to pay attention to. Here's the question. There is something called competition, and that means that the world isn't just sitting and watching what Elon is doing, what SpaceX is doing. Again, I'm not trying to be very pessimistic against Elon. I really think that he's doing really great stuff. I mean, he pulled some of the stuff that nobody could possibly imagine. He is probably one of the most hardworking, if not the most hardworking entrepreneur on planet Earth. But there is something called competition. So while they're trying to kick NVIDIA out of business and compete with NVIDIA, do you think what Jensen Huang is doing? He's also working super hard to be the best in his business. While they're trying to beat TSMC, do you know what TSMC is trying to do? They're trying to be the best in their businesses. So let me give you some data. So xAI which is now part of SpaceX, is pulling about $3.2 billion in revenue. Do you think how much ChatGPT is making? $25 billion. How about Anthropic? $30 billion. How about Google? $15 billion. Now, xAI will be directly competing with these three businesses. And these three businesses are far ahead of xAI. So here's the question. Will xAI be able to compete directly with them? I'm not saying that xAI is going to fail, but I'm simply saying that if we take the most optimistic scenario that xAI will achieve all of its objectives, yes, then we can actually give it a $2 trillion valuation. But the problem that most people have with the IPO right now is that they're trying to make an argument that you should pay for SpaceX today as if the company is already earning like $500 billion in revenue. We should value SpaceX right now as if SpaceX has already made like $322 billion from its AI company, that Starlink became insanely successful. It has around 100 million users, and it's making about $10 billion from its rockets launch. Now, I can easily imagine how they make $10 billion from rockets launch. I can easily imagine how much money they will be making for Starlink, but I cannot possibly imagine at this point that they will be pulling off $400 billion in revenue from xAI. And here's the bad news that SpaceX is getting. 61% of global businesses are scaling back AI investments as a result of trust issues. So we have integrated these AI systems in multiple businesses with the whole idea that we can get rid of workers. And then we realized that now you can actually do that, and suddenly businesses are scaling back. They don't want to integrate AI so fast, just like it did in the couple of years, because they realized that AI isn't there yet. Let me give you a few examples. So this is Uber's CTO reportedly spent his entire 2026 budget on AI-related costs by the start of the second quarter. So it's not literally half of the year yet, and suddenly they realize that they've spent the entire budget on AI. Here's the question: why would you even spend so much on AI when the whole idea of AI is that it will help you to eliminate the workers? So you can basically save a lot of costs, which is really good for business. I'm not saying that's not possible. You can make a very easy argument that it is going to take us some time. And yes, you're completely right. But because we're still far away from that moment, it makes no sense for these businesses to spend so much money. What businesses want today is that if you want me to fire these workers and replace them with this AI, please give me a solution that is going to do at least as good of a job that people are doing, and it's going to be significantly cheaper than them. Because if it's going to be as much as hiring these people, I would rather hire these people. Starbucks AI retreat underscores growing ROI concerns. While the rest of the industry is trying to stay away from AI for now and figure out how we can actually cost effectively use AI, SpaceX is trying to push the market to value SpaceX as if it's going to achieve a $500 billion revenue in the next 3 years, which certainly is not going to happen. So all this news that companies are scaling down on AI is really, really bad news for SpaceX, because this is the moment that SpaceX is going public. So this is the moment you want that there should be as much hype as possible around AI so that they will be able to raise that much money. Now, investors looking at this kind of news and they're like, I'm not paying this much because AI is not going to move from now onwards as fast as it did in the last 3 years. And we have seen that in real life. We have seen that in the real economy. The problem is that if this is going to have a real life implication and SpaceX won't be able to sell as many stocks as they planned and the stock will plummet on the first day of trading, that will be a huge catastrophe, because everybody knows how big of a risk this is and nobody wants to be the last person who is going to lose money on this investment. But that doesn't mean that SpaceX is going to be a bad investment. The question is that when will you be investing in SpaceX? If you invest at the right time, you will make a lot of money. But if you invest at the wrong time, at its peak, you will end up losing a lot of money. Look at Tesla's stock price over the last 5 years. It has been like a roller coaster. If you invested in Tesla back in November 2021, you would probably have lost money. And since that peak, the stock has actually plummeted by 4%. So all these investors who invested in Tesla at its peak are literally losing money. But if you invested at the bottom of the market, you probably made a lot of money. You grew your investment by over 200%. So if you want to know what is the best time to invest in SpaceX and you want to know when exactly I will be buying SpaceX, then join the Investing Academy, because the moment I buy SpaceX, I will instantly post it on the Investing Academy and you will be the first person to know. The link to the Investing Academy is in the description of this video. And by the way, we have a few free spots left on the Investing Academy. So if you apply today, there is a good chance that you will be able to join the Academy completely for free. The link is in the description.